Mining job hunt video. Welcome to Australian Mining for New Starters, and in today's video we are going to collect jobs for the sponsors website for their mining jobs to apply for page. This is where we load up all the jobs that we think you should be applying for once you finish either the work ready or the intro to underground mining, the DIY course. So let's type underground into Seek and give it a spin and see what comes up. Okay, so face mining, they've got multiple roles. So the thing that you'll get out of today's job hunt video is that there's a lot of companies that have got job ads out for multiple roles because they're trying to get their ducks in a row to pick up people that they've lost over the Christmas New Year period. So Faces got this ad on twice. Expressions of interest. So this is a good example. This is Evolution for their mines around Kalgoorlie, and if you go down and have a look, it's the whole lot. So it's a full crew ad. Now they're going to want experienced people for the nipper and truck jobs, but as we've discussed at length, there isn't really anybody with experience around looking for those jobs. Anybody with 6 to 12 months truck driving experience or 6 to 12 months nippering experience is going to be trying to get a service crew job. So Barminco, expressions of interest, experienced truck drivers. So if you've done the training, this is a good ad to apply for because they're not going to get that many experienced people. But if you can offer them somebody that knows how their mine works, that they've just got to quickly teach how to drive the truck and then you're going to be able to slot straight in, that's a win for them. We'll grab the pace crew one as well. It's all about trying to make the employer's life easier. When you do that, it's the easiest way to get yourself a job. So level D operator, they should just ask for truck drivers. This is a truck driving ad. So yeah, they want truck operators. I'm assuming D stands for dump truck. So this is in Tasmania. So again, there's a number of operations ramping up in Tasmania that are all looking for people. Underground nipper, Goldfield, Norton Gold, sorry. Shout out to Mr. M who got himself a job there over 12 months ago now. Loader operator, shotcrete nozzleman, experienced nippers, pry bar. Again, it's asking for experience, but they're not going to get anybody with an experience. Or if they do get somebody with 6 to 12 months experience, there'll be a reason why they can't move up. And, you know, they're just buying in dead wood sometimes. So a lot of companies, they want to try and get experience because they don't like the turnover of new starters, but they just can't do it because there's not enough people. Jumbo operator, nipper, Goldfields. Again, you know, Goldfields have had this nipper job up a fair bit. If you go back and have a look at the job hunt videos over the last couple of months, you'll see a lot of these jobs repeating themselves over and over again because they've hired a whole heap of people and they've failed and they've had to hire more people. A few people will have worked out, but the majority of people will have failed because they didn't know what they're getting themselves into. Aries, truck driving. As you can see, it's 5 minutes before Christmas and everybody's got their job ads up because people are quitting and they need new people to replace them in January. Pace crew, Westville. Westville are a new contracting company that are owned by Burncut, and they specialise in running the paste fill plants on sites. So yeah, we've had a few people get on with them now that have done the training, so it's a good place to apply and trying to get a start. Good money for shift bossing if you can get it. Lots of shift boss jobs, lots of charge up jobs. Everybody's looking for everything because it's that time of year where people have enough and they want to be home with their family, which is good, but they get out of the industry. So if you're looking to try and get into the industry, this is, the next 6 months, the next 6 weeks is one of the best times to get in. Charge up, bogger. Okay, so I'm going to include this one. They've run this ad again. This ad is for basically a nipper for charge up by the sounds of it when they're firing their stopes out, which is a good opportunity to get in. Fitter, electrician, loader operator. They're looking for bogger operators. I had a look at that ad the other day. Red path sprayers and Agi truck drivers. So I talked about Agi truck drivers in the last video and I did a quick short on them. So it's all about knowing what's going on in the mine. If you've got experience driving the Agi, then I suggest you have a look at the DIY training and marry up your experience with the Agi with knowing how the mine works. So you've got something to offer the employers, and when you get thrown in the deep end, you're going to know how the mine works and be able to make the most of it. Because a lot of people, when they're thrown in the deep end, they don't swim, unfortunately. They have to be fished out and sent home. Cool. Underground supervisor. Barminco entry-level mining opportunities. So this is Barminco's ad for entry-level, and for those that watched last week's video, they ran that last week as well, and I think they ran it a couple of weeks beforehand as well, before that. So they're desperate for people. They've got a lot of sites. They'll be going through a lot of people at this time of year. So if you want to try and get in, they're a really good company to get in with, that you can go overseas with them. They've got good career development and all that sort of stuff. It's just they're like every other company in the underground space. They turn over a bunch of their new starters. It's not anybody's fault. It's just the way the system is. It's really easy to get blindsided, and that's why the sponsors training, the DIY package is really good, because it assumes that you're going to be thrown in the deep end, and it gives you all the information and all the knowledge that you need, that if you do get to site and things aren't, the way they're supposed to be, and you are thrown in the deep end, you've still got all that important information and knowledge so you can make it yourself. Which is why it got written back in the day, because we as supervisors just got sick of watching people fail for the same silly reasons over and over again, just because their buddy wasn't very good at what they were talking about, or they were, they didn't have good communication skills, or for whatever reason. We just wanted to put a training package out there that people could do, and so they could get themselves a job, and that's what that is. So paste fill operator. For gold fields, again, they'll be looking for experience, but it's pretty thin on the ground. Services, workshop, engineer. Yep, drills assistant. So, brought you along here, so they're owner of the company. Not just a labour hire mob. Number 7. Drill fitter prominent hill. Well, that's the other big news that's happened in the industry is BHP and Oz Minerals look like they have merged or are going to merge, and that is going to make the South Australian operations or South Australia underground a big BHP area. All the mines in South Australia will be mostly owned by BHP, which will make things interesting. It'll be interesting to see whether Burncut retains the contracts or whether BHP goes owner-operator like they are at most other sites that they've got. I'm sure it'll just be if BHP decide to go owner-operator, I'm sure it'll just be a case of change of overalls like it normally is when stuff like that happens. Diamond Driller. You'll see the jobs come up with looking for a fresh start. Mill operators, Glencore. Got that. The mill jobs and the professional jobs and those sort of things slow down over the Christmas New Year period. The underground and the production mining jobs keep going because they need bums in seats. And I saw one of the HR departments were announcing in their Christmas message yesterday, I can't remember which company it was for, but they were working through Christmas New Year to get new people into the workforce, and they were quite proud of that. Grader operator, Nickel West. That will be a good job. Valley production supervisor, mining engineer, mill operators, we've got that one already. Service crew, graduate underground surveyor. Grad roll for surveyor. So they've started to come up again, and they will for the new year. Shout out to all the grads that are watching. Underground electrician, my manager. Number 10. Drillers Offsiders, haven't seen that company before. It's a surface offsiders job, so put that in exploration. Trade assistant. Magazine keeper, warehouse officer. We'll have a look at that, and we'll put that down in the mills job. Shot firer, dozer, mines rescue assistant, coal. Shotcrete operator, mine superintendent. Dozer, Diamond Driller Offsider, West Gold. Entry level, service person. Trainers. Diamond drillers. Pacefill, got that one already. Electrician. Drillers Offsider. As we talked about, those guys advertise pretty much daily. Electrician, mine superintendent. Purchasing officer. Can't. Drill fitter. Trainee truck operators. Northern Star. Is this a surface one? Trainee truck operator. Resident based. Yes, it's for the surface. So I will copy that. And I will put that in. We'll put that in the exploration area, but I will load that up onto the Facebook pages for people today so they can have a look at that. But like I keep on telling people, that if you want a surface truck driving job, then pretty much Kalgoorlie is the only place that I know that you can realistically get a chance of getting on with it. BHP is still doing their training schools in iron ore, and so is FMG and Rio, but they're not putting many people through. They're only putting a handful of people through, and there's literally, thousands of people applying for, a handful of spots. So it is what it is. You need to be realistic about it. If you are going to wanting to try and get into the surface, then honestly, relocating to Kalgoorlie is probably your best bet to try and get on and get some experience up and then go from there. But trying to get into iron ore as a truck driver is crazy at the moment, considering, they're turning all their trucks driverless, or they're trying to get as many of their sites driverless as possible. So, yeah, you're jumping into an area of the industry where they're getting rid of everybody. So I don't think that that's very smart. As far as, keeping a career together and doing all that sort of stuff is, it just doesn't make sense to me. Drillers offsiders, trainee offsiders, tech force, copy. Here we go, tech force. I will put that in there. Maintenance. But people want to get into mining, and most of them have got the rose-coloured glasses on, and they want to go and drive a dump truck somewhere, and that's, it is what it is. It's a job that was there 15, 20 years ago that, at the moment, with iron ore going driverless, there's not many spots around, and the ones that are there are drying up quickly. Whereas with Hard Rock Underground, because they're not going to be able to change the way that we do things anytime soon with driverless trucks, because they can't establish exclusion zones in declines and all that sort of stuff, they're going to need people behind the wheel, whether you like it or not. And it means that you can jump into an underground career, and you can, if you, as long as you're prepared to put the effort into it, you're still going to be working in the industry in 10 or 15 years' time. Whereas some of the other areas of the industry, it's just hit and miss with whether you're going to be lucky enough to be one of the ones that keep their job. Process technicians, so we'll grab that. That's for the mill. I had a look at the coal price again the other day, and that's dropped back down to 230 US. And it spiked up again and leveled out, which was good, but it started to come back down again now. And that's just going to happen over the next sort of 6 to 12 months as everybody around the world reopens their coal mines to fire up their coal-fired power plants. Cold room technician, we'll grab that one. Mill jobs. If you don't want to work in the mine proper, or going underground doesn't really float your boat, and you want to work on the surface, then you really should have a look at getting onto the mill. There's a lot of jobs out there, and they pay reasonably well, and you're often part of the owner. Whoever owns the mine runs the mill normally, so you're often with the owner of the mine, which makes life a lot easier most of the time. And it can be a really good way to go if you don't want to go and work underground. Site fitter, electrician. What's that? Core shed technician. Exploration. That could be a good way in. So again, there's been a heap of jobs, as you can see, and it's one of those industries where it doesn't shut down over Christmas. It'll keep going and going and going, because they need bums on seats, and they've got people quitting left, right and centre, taking up new jobs elsewhere, moving around. It's a good time of year to get in. Alright, so we're at 21 minutes and we're up to number 17. So let's go and have a look at our map. And this is our mining map of Australia with all the mines loaded up on it around the country that are producing stuff that are just going to go into batteries and the gold mines. So as you can see, there's loads around the country. So there's a heap in Tasmania, and there's more mines reopening in Tasmania. We loaded a couple of jobs up there today. There's not that much in Victoria. There's a little bit around Bendigo and Ballarat. But if you're in Victoria, you've got all the mines here in New South Wales, around Dubbo, Parkes, Orange, West Wyalong, Cobar, all the way up to Broken Hill, that are always looking for people. A lot of people drive in, drive out of Victoria up to these jobs. They also drive in and out of the Gold Coast as well. Obviously, if you're in Sydney or on the north or south coast of New South Wales, it's pretty easy to drive across there and get your job and drive in and drive out yourself. If you're in Brisbane or the Gold Coast or Sunshine Coast area, then you've got fly in, fly out up to Mount Isa and Charters Towers. They also fly in and out of Cairns and drive in and out of Cairns and Townsville. Townsville's quite a big hub. South Australia, you've got Olympic Dam and all Oz Mineral sites, and as I talked about in the video already, BHP is taking over Oz Minerals, so that's going to be interesting. Northern Territory, you've got fly and fly out of Savannahs and Tanamide, which is Newmont's big underground mine in the centre or around here in the Northern Territory. And over here in Kalgoorlie, you have got everything that's fly and fly out of Perth, and you've got everything that's around Kalgoorlie at the moment. And there's bucket loads of work around Kalgoorlie. Like I keep telling people, if you really want a job as quickly as possible, then check out the sponsor's DIY Intro to Underground Training. It's $495. There's full instructions on how to redo your resume in the back of the Australian Mining Seminar. If you haven't seen the resume video that I've done, or the resume videos that I've done, have a look at that. It shows you exactly what the employers want for these hard rock underground mining jobs. Shows you how you can redo it yourself. But yeah, it's $495. It teaches you everything the employer wants. And once you've done that, head to Kalgoorlie. It's everybody that's done that and that can hold a conversation about mining, so they've studied, has had a couple of job offers in the first week that they've gotten there. Just because there'd be 50 mines within 100 k's of Kalgoorlie that are all having to put people on, and there's just nobody. And the majority of the work's hard rock underground. There's a few open pits around Kalgoorlie, like I've said before, as we discussed before, but all the work around Australia, the majority of the entry-level stuff is all happening in hard rock underground mines. It's not that easy to get a surface job at the moment, and if you go in for coal, the problem going in for coal is that you don't know how long the coal mines are going to be operating for, because there's a lot of people that have got a job on a coal mine in the last 18 months that are probably not going to have a job on a coal mine in 18 months' time. And that's just the way mining is and the way mining works. And the reason that I get to say that is because I've seen it happen a load of times before, and you can see it coming from a mile off. So I hope you found that information helpful, and if you want to ask a question about the mining industry, please send it through and I'll answer it. If you could share this video around and like and subscribe the channel. Thanks.